get sat down, get the tea ready, everything is kicked off. Hi, how are you? I hope everything is going really well for you today because we have some major drama. I thought it would be fun for us to take a look at some of the palettes that never happened, the palettes that were in production, some of which were in production and some of which were cancelled. And I thought it would be interesting for us to take a look at them. Some of this is inside knowledge, which I've got from people inside companies. Some of it has been leaked a little bit and has been spoken about. Now we are talking about the beauty YouTuber named JACLYN Hill with 4.2 million subscribers, if not more, and two makeup brands, the first of which is Makeup Geek and the second of which is Anastasia Beverly Hills. Now, the Anastasia Beverly Hills thing is something that I don't think has been brought out publicly yet, so I'm going to save that till last, and I'm going to talk about the Makeup Geek drama first because that's also the story that I have the most evidence for. So, Makeup Geek is a famous makeup brand in the US. They focus on single eyeshadows. They are quite well known, and the owner is called Marlena. She's very hands-on with the business, and she is known as being the mother of the company. She's very active in promoting things, and she puts her face to the company, which is obviously fantastic. The tea is that JACLYN Hill, in around 2015, so that was 2 years ago, was supposed to have a collaboration happening with Makeup Geek. Now, JACLYN Hill has been in all of her various controversies over the past few years. As a beauty YouTuber, she's been in collaborations that have gone wrong. For example, she spoke very openly about her collaboration with Becca going horrendously wrong, in which they did an eyeshadow palette which was so dry, and I believe that they outsourced it from their usual lab to a lab in China. I don't know if they were not using their usual formula, but it just did not turn out very good, and they ended up having to scrap it, which obviously made Becca look absolutely horrendous for putting their name on something that was just bad quality. It's not so much that it was made in China, but I think it's just the fact that it came out so badly. JACLYN did her little Snapchat rant about it. We've covered that quite a few times. And that's where one of the stories kicks off. Basically, JACLYN Hill was actually working on a collaboration which was supposed to happen with Makeup Geek on a palette. Makeup Geek is very social media driven. I don't believe that they are in stores, but maybe they are in certain stores. And they do a lot of collaborations, and I know they did a palette with Manny, and I know they've done a palette with other people, and it's more like they have the formula, they have the shades, and I think the influencer picks the colours, and obviously they design the packaging, and then it all gets put together. And so it's kind of a cute way for influencers to put a palette out, I guess, and it's a good way for Makeup Geek to keep rolling. Where did things go wrong between Makeup Geek and JACLYN? Well, I have some official statements from the owner of Makeup Geek, and I also have some inside knowledge from someone that works inside Morphe, or worked inside Morphe, that's explained how things happened to me. So let's start off with Marlena, who is the owner of Makeup Geek. I really hope that that's how you pronounce it. I'm so sorry if it's not. By the way, you might have noticed that my setup has changed. I've finally moved house, and this is the first time I've actually had a sofa in one of my own apartments, and so I'm probably going to film a few videos just lying down and enjoying it. So I hope you're not offended. So here is something which was posted on the official Makeup Geek. I think this was a YouTube comment, but she said, I don't have exact dates, but here's some upcoming releases. July, duochrome collection. August, 20 matte shadows. September, JACLYN Hill palette. So the JACLYN Hill palette was presumably about 5 months away from being released, and this is where Makeup Geek was basically publicly announcing that they were working on it. So obviously everyone was like, oh my god, what is happening? And then the palette just never happened, and a lot of people were kind of thinking why, but I think a lot of it was just swept under the rug because JACLYN had announced her collaboration with Becca Cosmetics on Champagne Pop, the highlighter. This is obviously something that a lot of you are aware of, and it's quite a big highlighter. And obviously they went on to do the whole collection with the face palette, which was limited edition, came back again, and the Champagne Splits again, which were limited edition, came back again and again and again and again. I don't mind when things come back from limited edition that much, but if you keep bringing it back over the space of like 3 years continuously, I don't feel like it's limited edition because you just keep selling it. Like I saw it on QVC a few months ago again. But anyway, that is a whole different story. You are completely welcome to have your own decision. What do you think about limited edition collections coming back again and again? Tell me what you think about that, because I understand both sides of the argument. Some of you like it when they stick around, but at the same time, I know some of you get really annoyed because you invest in something thinking that you have a limited time span and you really push your personal funds, and then it turns out you could have bought it at a time that was more convenient for you. So do please let me know what you think about that in the poll up on the screen here. Now, I have an official statement from Makeup Geek. This was brought out quite recently. This is what Marlena said. We were going to, and even ordered some of her shadows, but we kept getting pushed aside due to collaborations with Morphe and Becca. I still love JACLYN and support her, but had to pull the collab because the shadows were sitting in my warehouse for too long after payment for them was made. We sold them as singles. I believe Cabin Fever and Tan Lines were two of them. So basically Marlena is saying that they went as far as to actually order some of the shadows that they were going to put into the collaboration with JACLYN Hill. But then because JACLYN kept pushing it aside to work with Morphe and Becca, now obviously to give you a very basic idea just of how much the kind of logistics and size we are talking about, JACLYN told me that Becca sells 90,000 units of champagne pop a month. So if JACLYN was to make a 5% commission on every sale, that would be $38, which is the original price of champagne pop, divided by 100 times by 5, which gives you 5%, which would be $1.09. That is the commission that JACLYN Hill would be making if she was only making a 5% commission on champagne pop. She might be making more than that. I don't know the numbers. So if we then times this by the 90,000 units, which are sold worldwide every month, that comes out to $171,000 that JACLYN Hill would be making if she was making a 5% cut. Now, alongside that, someone inside Morphe told me that JACLYN Hill was making $125,000 a month from Morphe. So 171 plus 125. Obviously, beauty guru business is a big business. You know, you can do very, very well from beauty guru business. So JACLYN Hill was already allegedly making very close to $300,000 a month just from Morphe and just from Becca. So obviously a collaboration with Makeup Geek would have brought in a big sum, but evidently not. To have this rolling standard is a lot more than what I think they would be making with Makeup Geek, because Makeup Geek is a smaller brand than Becca and other brands like that. It's much more indie. Not to say that they are a small brand, they are very big and they are very worldwide, but I personally don't think they are at the same sales level as Becca. So alongside this theoretical $300,000 a month, I was told from someone inside Morphe that JACLYN Hill was making $750,000 from her favourites. Oh my god, I bit my tongue. From her favourites collection, which she did with Morphe. So if I do that and divide that by 12 months, that's $62,000. So JACLYN was allegedly making around $360,000 a month from Becca and Morphe altogether. So you can understand that working with Makeup Geek would be a fantastic opportunity to put out another product, because she didn't have an eyeshadow palette with Becca, the one fell through, and the Morphe Favourites collection was obviously, I think, a few years before that. Or a little bit before that. And so it does make sense. It does make sense that things were pushed back. What's interesting is the person inside Morphe told me that JACLYN didn't have a lot of she didn't do a lot in terms of her actual palette. She picked out the colours, but she didn't have much more involvement than that. The person inside Morphe also told me that the reason the Makeup Geek palette was cancelled was because JACLYN basically gave no time to Makeup Geek for the actual development of the palette, and gave all of her time to Becca, obviously. Now, I don't think JACLYN had a lot of involvement with Becca when she was developing the palette. She said that very openly when she's spoken about the Morphe palette that she's just put out, that she didn't really have involvement with previous collaborations, or that this was the first time she really got hands-on. So that's the basic tea, and something which I think you will find very juicy. Very, very juicy. JACLYN Hill did a palette around the time that she was working on her Makeup Geek collaboration, okay? And in this palette, it was her favourite Makeup Geek shadows, I think it was, or her favourite single shadows. And I clocked this when she released the official pictures of her Morphe palette, okay? You can see, I mean, please tell me what you think about this. Maybe I'm reaching, but my eyes just caught onto this. When you look at the two palettes together, I'll put them on either side, I saw quite a suspicious resemblance between JACLYN Hill's favourite palette that she'd done with Makeup Geek shadows, which I presume she would have tried to turn into a collaboration palette with Makeup Geek a few months later so she could finally sell the product. Those same colours seem to all have been transferred through to the Morphe palette. Do you not think that's suspicious? So when JACLYN says we developed the colours and we did this and we did that, I do almost begin to think to myself that what they actually did was took the Makeup Geek palette using the pre-existing Makeup Geek singles and handed that over to Morphe and said, can you recreate these colours and formula? Do you know what I mean? Obviously we've seen the formula. Morphe published the formula of JACLYN Hill's palette and it was the same as their other palettes. They then amended their online publishing and changed it to another formula, which was very similar to the Kathleen Lights palette, I think it was. Or it could have been the little 12 ones that were going around at Christmas time. But I just thought that was strange how the Makeup Geek single shadow palette that was posted around the same time that she would have been doing her collaboration with Makeup Geek, the same colours seem to have transferred over to the Morphe palette. I don't know, I was very surprised by that. I was just like, but maybe it's just me. Especially the turquoise and greeny shades and the baby sick shade. Anyway, that is the first tea that has been leaked. Now, Marlena kept very, very peaceful in that message. You could see she was very respectful. And she did post a few shady tweets around the time of the JACLYN Hill launch. It was when the JACLYN Hill palette was launching, and I think they'd sold out and they just mentioned they were going to restock. She posted these tweets. The first one says, "I miss the days of makeup when it was pure, no sponsorships, no marketing ploys, and was authentic. Does that make me old now?" This is the exact same time that James Charles, Nikki Tutorials, every other social media influencer that has a strong affiliation with Morphe was pushing JACLYN's palette. And I would assume, I was told from someone that there's special deals that Morphe does with their affiliates when they release a new palette. So you'll get like an extra commission, or you might make an extra flat rate if you do a promotion and stuff like that. So I think with this being such a big collaboration, we can presume that Morphe affiliates will be paid extra or would be on some sort of flat rate commission to promote JACLYN's palette, which is why I think we saw it everywhere across social media. Obviously, people are also entitled to like the palette and talk about it, but I think the reason that so many people spoke about it was because they were under some sort of new commission. There's a lot of good makeup that is released every day, but you'll never hear about it because the brands aren't prepared to pay influencers. When was the last time you heard influencers talking about like drugstore products like Makeup Revolution or, you know, collection products like that? You don't hear about as often. And I think it's just simply because the brands don't pay for them to go on expensive holidays, because some of the products are actually really good. The Peach Lights highlighter by Makeup Revolution, I think it's a really good basic highlighter if you just want a very gentle glow, and other stuff like that, you know. Anyway, that was the first tweet, but this was paired with the second tweet. Now, the second tweet read, "I'm always curious when restocks mysteriously happen in a week or two. Production takes minimum of 6 weeks," which is true, you know, I'm in manufacturing. Production does take a minimum of 6 weeks. JACLYN Hill's palette sold out within 48 minutes, even though she'd promised there would be enough stock for a week. And she then told James Charles at the launch party that she hoped it would sell out in 2 days, okay? Do you not think that's weird that she said publicly there's at least a week's worth of stock, but then she said to James Charles, which he said publicly in a video, that she would hope it would sell out within 48, and then it sold out within 48 minutes or something like that. So I just thought that was weird. It was very strange because people were very upset that the Favourites collection of the brushes sold out so quickly, and it's a very good marketing ploy to have everything sell out so quickly. I was told the same thing on the inside to do with Jeffree Star Cosmetics. Someone suggested to me that when he sells out really quickly, it's because he's ordering 3,000 units, which for someone of his brand size isn't a lot of units. So it makes things seem very exclusive because things are always sold out, but the reality is that there's just not a lot of stock to start with, which is very similar to how companies like Zara run. Zara have a very, very small amount of stock in their stores, and they order it based on every week how much they're selling and how much they have available in the store. So it's just business, it's how things TikTok. But that was shady. I mean, I thought that was shady, not of Marlena. I didn't think it was negative, but I thought it was interesting for her to say that at the same time that JACLYN Hill was tweeting, "We're gonna have a restock in a week, don't worry about it." Marlena was like, that's completely up to you. Do you think it was shady? Please let me know. Now, the second and last bit of juicy tea was basically regarding the JACLYN Hill Anastasia Beverly Hills palette. Now, this is something that you probably haven't heard about, and this is not something that I've seen leaked across the internet. I have to say this is information that I've got from the inside, and I can't confirm it myself. I haven't spoken directly to Anastasia or JACLYN about this, but someone inside Morphe told me that along with the Becca information and the Makeup Geek information, JACLYN was actually working on a palette with Anastasia Beverly Hills, which is obviously a very prestigious brand, and things basically went completely tits up because JACLYN, without telling Anastasia, allegedly just did her favourites collection with Morphe, you know, the Morphe palette, and this is the palette that she made 750,000 with around 3 years ago. Apparently, Anastasia completely pulled the plug on the project that they were working on with JACLYN because they couldn't have their brand associated with JACLYN if JACLYN was associated with Morphe, which I completely understand, and I do.
Hello JACLYN, we are so excited to have you here in our house. I'm so excited to be here. It's so pigmented. Use my code at checkout, JACTAG, and you'll save 10%. And this is by Morphe, and yeah, I'm so excited to be here. I'm really, really excited.
Bitch, shut the fuck up.
So JACLYN, we would like to...
it's even easier than I like play it up in my head sometimes because I'm like, oh, exact same place, and then also like a lot in here. So you're so confident in this, okay?
Yeah, I'm so excited too to be working on this collaboration, and obviously I won't work with any other brands until this palette is finished. Oh, hey guys, I forgot to mention, by the way, I finished a new palette with Morphe, and it has 35 shades, and it's going to be $30, and it's a collaboration. I'm so excited.
I think not, madame.
goodbye.
Yeah, I guess Anastasia haven't done a lot of palettes. They don't do a lot of collaborations. They have the one with Amoresi, they have the one with Makeup by Mario, so they're very careful who they pick their collaborations with, and so I think when they are so picky, it does make sense that they would cut JACLYN off. And from that point, she then went on to work on a palette with Makeup Geek instead, but then obviously that palette, from what we understand, fell to pieces because JACLYN just gave it no attention, because she was putting all of her time into Becca and Morphe. Anyway, that is the GCT for today. I want to know what you think about this down below, because this is some like, ooh, like, this has all kind of come to me in pieces from different people, and I've kind of pieced it together. There's one person here, there's one person there, there's one person that's an influencer, and it's really me trying to pull together a strong conclusion. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave me a thumbs up, and if you didn't enjoy the video, you can leave a thumbs down, because that's what it's there for. I hope you're as excited as I am to be in my new apartment. I feel like we're going to make a lot of happy memories here. I genuinely do, and I'm so excited for all the projects and all the fun stuff that I have coming up, where I'm just planning things and thinking about things that we can do on this channel that are going to be a good giggle. So I hope you've got your titties strapped in. Let me know what you think of the setup. I'm kind of really enjoying the lying down videos. They're really relaxed, actually. I hope you're having a good week, and I just wanted to check in with you really quickly and just let you know that I know that things sometimes feel like bad things can all come at the same time, and I've definitely felt like that recently. There's been some stuff happening with my personal like family and stuff like that, and there was a point where, you know, I had nowhere to live. My apartment, this apartment wasn't signed for. My old apartment I was leaving, no transportation, and both my parents fell very, very sick very quickly and were rushed to hospital, different hospitals, and it was almost like within 1 week I feel like I managed to sign for this apartment, pass my driving test, and then I was able to drive backwards and forwards and visit them both, and I nearly lost both my parents, and it was really scary. And I won't talk about it too much because I feel like this is a happy space and you don't need to hear about my problems. But if it can help you, then I'm happy to share it with you. It was really hard.
God, I forgot to even edit the end bit out. What I was supposed to say was it was really hard, but things do get better. And often, lots of bad things will happen right before a golden streak. So I'm sending all my love to you. Mwah.
I'm really excited for everything that's going to happen, and I hope you're excited too. Thank you for watching. I will see you really soon. Bye.